guess. But yeah, lap one, Leclerc just drives off into towards turn one. Verstappen couldn't get past him. Russell and Perez crashed, like hit each other. Obviously didn't crash out, but they had contact in turn one. Don't know how they both survived really, because it was like fairly.
It was a big old hit,
collision.
wasn't it? Yeah.
And then into that made Sainz back off, trying to avoid Russell and Perez. Hamilton then tries to go around the outside of Sainz at turn 3, doesn't work, and that allows Magnussen to come at Hamilton. Which do you want to talk us through as the resident Hamilton
Yeah,
fan?
K-Mag turns in on him. No. Yeah, it was an odd crash, wasn't it, between K-Mag and Hamilton. I think we can both safely agree, lap 1 racing incident.
Yeah.
It was kind of...
Absolutely.
I think the best point of view was actually Mick Schumacher's, wasn't it? And you sort of look at his with the steering inputs. Hamilton gets a tiny bit of understeer because he's on cold rubber and obviously harder rubber as well that he was struggling with. And it kind of looks like K-Mag as well is trying to go to the apex despite the fact there's a car on his inside. So they kind of...
Yeah, he's clearly trying to squeeze Hamilton.
Yeah, and I mean, K-Mag team radio going, Hamilton knew what he was doing. I'm there like, not quite sure that's it, mate.
No,
to be honest. When we've seen the kind of antics K-Mag gets up to, suck my balls.
Yeah. Well, he would know when drivers are trying to take other drivers out.
Exactly, yeah. K-Mag is prime, just...
Well, certainly back in the day.
Yeah,
anyway.
just mega
really
energy of ballsiness. Ballsiness or stupidity. Sometimes the line was a bit blurred.
Yeah.
But yeah, a racing collision. I think, to be honest, like a lot of people have said, it was a bit unfortunate for both of them. Because they both could have had the potential to run a really solid race, which, I mean, we'll sort of discuss later on. Hamilton got a puncture. I think they both ended up pitting, didn't they? Because K-Mag ended up in a gravel trap. And then, of course, Hamilton... Not happy with the situation.
It was poor on that rate. Like, he's got a bit of history doing this as well. I really didn't like. I mean, Martin Brundle said it on the commentary as well. Like, it's not a nice thing to hear one of the stars of the sport saying, "Let's throw in the towel." 4 laps into a race.
Yeah.
Especially when he's got no damage. Like,
he did have a little bit though. Still, I thought.
I don't know. Maybe he could have had very minor damage on the front wing, maybe on the front corner. But it was still, not exactly the still I rise, never give up attitude that we see battling for wins.
And it's strange, isn't it, with Lewis? Because like you said, we do hear this sometimes. And, I mean, sometimes I sort of wonder whether that's Hamilton saying that to kind of then get the team to motivate him a bit more because he knows deep down that he can do it. Because, of course, he never would just stop the car or anything like that.
Well, Belgium 2014.
Belgium 2014? I thought he had issues, didn't he, there? After Rosberg
No, well,
him.
he had the puncture, but he was just running low down and then called it quits. I don't think he had any more issues.
I thought they did there, to be honest.
Maybe, perhaps they did. I can't really remember. But another one, Germany 2019, when he was...
He wanted to again, but he finished and scored a point.
He wanted to. Yeah. He scored 2 points, actually.
Oh, he did, didn't he? Yeah, because
Kubica intense.
Yeah. What a...
But yeah, I don't like to see. I mean, as a non-Hamilton fan, I find it quite funny, but it's not the best attitude from a 7-time world champion.
No, but again, like we've sort of spoke before, can we blame him for still being a bit demotivated at the moment? And especially when you look back after the race at the gaps, and the thing was as well, obviously early on, he was losing time because he then had to go on the soft tyres, which just didn't work. But obviously, when you look at the gaps later on in the race, it did make you wonder, had he not had those issues, what could have been possible.
The Mercedes had a good race car.
They did.
Earlier.
We kind of said this recently, haven't we? Their qualifying pace was definitely strong this weekend, and their race pace this year had always been just that little bit better than their qualifying trim. So there really was an element of what could Mercedes do this weekend. Then things got a bit weird, didn't they, Jamie?